Greetings from Nod's Gamer. We're staring at something again, which means I'm going to shove something in front of you, just there, and say, this is what we're doing this week. Guess what we're doing this week? SEGA Saturn controller. I've had this for 20, lost count amount of years. It's played lots of Saturn games with me. So I want to pop it open, show it a bit of love, clean all of my dead skin out of this, give the controller a bit of a spritz so we can get another 20 years of gaming out of it. So let's open up my SEGA Saturn controller and see what's inside. So let's see what we've got inside this one. On the back we've got 5 screws, surprisingly. Thought there'd be a few more than this. Let's pop them out. I was always afraid to open this controller as a child because with it having an analog and that all being new, I was afraid that it was going to be very complicated. And for some reason to this day, still never open one of these up. Even though it's going to be, I'm assuming this is going to be very similar to the Dreamcast controller. Well, not a million miles away from, as it already represents it on the outside. Here's a stubborn one. There we go. Just lifts away. And as we can see, a lovely line of muck formed in that outside groove. That's going to need a bath. Just as I suspected, to be honest, it is pretty much a Dreamcast controller on the inside, minus the cartridge ports. It's interesting to see what they were doing here. I don't know if they were going to have peripherals that plugged into this controller or like a wireless component to it or something, but it was interesting to see they were toying around with something at the time. Everything looks relatively clean on the inside. Wow. I was expecting this to be absolutely filthy. There we go. Dirt on your button membranes and all over your directional pad. Nice chunky start button. Pop these buttons out here. Yep, so they're all pretty scuffed and manky, so that'll need a nice good soak and clean. Not too sure. Oh, that just pops out. Sorry. Bit of pressure on there just pops that through. That is disgusting too. Always clean your controllers, guys. This is what I should have done years ago. But the only thing that's puzzling me here is the D-pad's attached. There's no way to lift or twist that out. I wonder if it just sort of levers off. Could we possibly... No, let's do this from the back. Let's do this from the back. Don't want to do any cosmetic damage to the front of the controller. I just thought this might lift off. There we go. That's a tight fit. And that is a lot of dead meat. Ooh, bogies. Possibly. Don't know. Disgusting. Right. So... as you can see, that is probably the most difficult part of the process. That's quite tightly attached there. It may be easier to take it off from the front, as this does look like it might snap. But I didn't want to risk any damage around there. A little bit of wear and tear on the selector on the pad where you flick over. So that's where you flick between analog and digital. So over the years that's just sort of wearing away, but it still works absolutely fine. Everything in there is pretty clean. I mean, I was getting into this thinking these were going to be disgusting inside, because I really have spent over 20 years of my life using this controller. So let's get this all cleaned up and reassemble. so while that's all drying off, what we'll do is give all the contacts on here and here a quick clean down with some alcohol pads, just to keep them all tip top. Just give those pads a nice clean down. I'm sure they'll appreciate it with all the years of muck that has gone through this. And just making sure all those contacts are nice and clean. And probably a little bit for this, guys. I'm not too sure how to clean this. It doesn't seem to, like the Nintendo 64 controllers, it doesn't seem to get rougher. It works exactly the same as it always has done, so I think I'm not going to do anything with that at all. Just give everything else a quick clean out. So once the rest is dry, we should just be able to pop that all back together. So now that we're all dried off, let's get this guy reassembled and see if he still works. Lovely and clean. Let's pop the buttons in first. The X button, the C button, B, drop him in lastly, Z, or Z for my American viewers, Y, and A. A doesn't want to fit. Damn you, A. Pads are all cleaned up. I've rubbed the back with some alcohol as well, just to keep the contacts all clean. So pop that back over. The difficult part, which I should have done first, is the D-pad, isn't it? So it was a problem to get off initially. Let's see if we can just pop that back on. There's a little nub to locate against that. So it only goes in one way. Click and that's back on. Pop the membrane down, pop the start button in, and the selector switch, which I'm assuming will only go in one way. Pop you back on top. The beauty of this controller as well is, with all of the teardowns, you have a cable off here, and the Saturn one just unplugs, which it served no functionality with the controller at the time. I'm assuming they wanted to do more with it, but for stripping one down, it's absolutely brilliant. So you don't have to worry about feeding the cable back through the case, as you can just clip that back on at the end. So let's get these 5 screws back in. Always remember to find the original thread. You twist the screw backwards till it clicks. You know that's dropped into the thread, and you're fine. You're not going to cut any more into that plastic, as if you don't get that right over time, the controller does. Oh, and he's not even in. Look, the controller does not want to go back together unless you get it in them original grooves repeatedly. So it's a good tip if you're disassembling to clean them regularly, is to always turn it a little bit anti-clockwise till you feel it click into the original groove, and then you're good to go. So that's all complete. Buttons feel nice, everything looks clean, no more dead teenage bits of flesh in there. So let's plug that in, click it into the Saturn, and have a quick blast on something that supports the analog pad, just to make sure this still all works fine.
Gentlemen, start your engine. The white flag is out. This is the final lap.
So that's my Saturn 3D controller, all squeaky clean and working like new. Just not very expertly demonstrated by yours truly on one of their finer racing games. But you know, it's been a very long time since I've played it. Now don't be afraid of this controller like my teenage self was. It's not full of pixie dust and magic. It's just an analog stick. Please guys, maintain your retro controllers, because if you look after them, they will look after you. I hope you found this helpful. Give me a like if you have. Give me a sub if you haven't already. I've been Knots Gamer. This has been my old school Sega pad. Thanks for watching guys. See you next time.